Training for your next big race and not sure about your nutrition? Well, Precision Fuel and Hydration are sponsoring the show this month, and their free online planner has you covered. It calculates exactly how much carbs, sodium and fluid you need to smash your goals. Me and the team at Inside Running Podcast swear by the 90 gram resealable gel to have on our long runs. It's been a game changer for us. If you want to crush your race day strategy, hit the link in the show notes, try the planner and grab 15% off your first order with the code IR-SPRING 2025. That's IR-SPRING 2025. Hit the link, grab your discount and crush those goals. Now on to the episode.
Child, that your skin can bring you so much pain. Now I hear you say you got the best of both ways. Won't you come and take a walk in my shoes and tell me if you take my place? Undercover of my skin, I've heard all your names. If it's all the same, I'll keep on.
Welcome to episode 401 of the Inside Running Podcast. A massive thanks for being with us for another week. We are live on the Gold Coast thanks to Lululemon. I think we sold about 450 seats, but I reckon there's maybe 50 that haven't been filled yet. Some people are still walking in the door. We got a big episode for you this week though. We got our Gold Coast Marathon results to go through. Diamond League happened this morning. One of my co-hosts was watching the Diamond League on the course as he was watching people run past. Listener question, Moose on the loose, some whispers, and we've got a big guest who's going to be joining us on stage shortly. Welcome my co-host. He is self-proclaimed the best pacemaker in Australian's history, the winner of the Christchurch Half Marathon in 2018, the 2:17 marathoner, and Australian finalist at the 2020 Fashions on the Field. Welcome to episode 401, Bradley Croker.
Thanks, Brady. There's a fair bit of crap spoken in that intro, fair bit to unpack. And Moose, he's the new pacemaking king, and also making a tilt at Fashions on the Field the way he's dressed today with the suit jacket.
He looks good. We've gone from one extreme to the other here. Moose has gone with a blazer. You've gone with some active wear. Thank you to Lulu. I'm somewhere in between. Thank you to Lululemon for dressing us up for the night as well, though.
I'm off season from Fashions on the Field.
Okay, yeah. My other co-host, he is the only male that we sent to the 2019 World Championships for the marathon. He's a 3-time winner of the Roo Run, 4.5-time winner of the Great Ocean Road Marathon, and in 2022 was voted the third most influential person in Australian distance running behind Steve Moneghetti and Ned Brockman. Welcome to episode 401, Julian the Big Moose Spence.
I would love to see that list actually in full. Brady, if you can ever send it through to me. And yeah, I feel a bit let down by you boys. Like, we got access to the Lululemon website and Brad just picked running kit and then didn't even go home for a shower after his run.
I swear you go like filter expensive to least expensive, and just because didn't last year you bought a $450 puffer jacket and you didn't even wear it on stage.
This year I thought, I'll show that we're up there for business, but we're here to have a good time too. So got a T-shirt with a blazer, and I've always sort of looked at that and thought, why would you bother doing that? But now I get it.
Yeah, you look very, very good. What about Zaka? He ordered the same shirt that I ordered, and I had to send this order to him so he knew what I'd ordered, and then just blatantly copied me.
Yeah, Zaka doesn't really come up with his own style sense. His missus dresses him most of the time.
We've got weekly recaps to go through first. Do you want to kick it off, Moose? Because you were on the streets of the Gold Coast today in your debut pacing gig with the lead women at the Gold Coast Marathon. We saw a bit of him on the stream, Croaks. We were out there on the road watching, but I don't know anything. I'm looking forward to hearing all about this. Take us back to Monday, though, to kick things off.
Well, today was fun. It's made Croaks' week, I reckon. What happened out there today. He's the happiest man in Queensland at the moment. On Monday, I just jogged. Tuesday, we had our first We're calling it the jogging crew. It's not actually a run crew or a run club, but we're kicking off in Torquay with a store run. So we got one of the worst days of weather. It was one of those mornings where it was just torrential rain. But shout out Jared McMullen, who came along, and I think he was at the first run club when the Geelong store opened back in 2010, and he showed up to the first run club for the Torquay store as well. So that was good. Would have been pretty awkward if I didn't show up, because there was just Maddie, one of our young staff members, and Jared running along for 40 minutes by themselves.
So success. 3 people, 2 of them staff members.
There was 3 people in Torquay running.
Okay.
That morning it was us.
I want to check in a couple of weeks when it's better weather to see if it's still 3 people.
Yeah, well, if you see a photo come up, there'll be more than 3 people. On Wednesday, I did the pre-race workout. Now, because of the pacing gig, I thought, again, we'll try to get some time in at like race pace or race rhythm. I did say to Ali that's what I wanted from this week. So she is still riding these workouts, and this is similar to what I did the week before, actually. I went out to the chocolate factory, if anyone knows the chocolate factory on the Surf Coast. It sits outside of Anglesey on the top of a hill on a bit of road of the Great Ocean Road called the Mad Mile. So it's like a 1,600 metre straight, pretty flat road. And parked there, went for a jog and did the workout in the new ASICS Metaspeed Edge Tokyo, which is the new version of the Metaspeed Edge that's coming out later in July. This is the shoe that a lot of the athletes wore at that, what did they call that thing in Japan?
Yeah, Speed. What was it called?
Speed Tokyo or...
Yeah, the shoe.
One that Croaks thinks is short.
Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to test that shoe out. It's a bigger fit, and so I've had 2 different sizes that I'm trying out. So I was just trying to work out what the safer size was for me. The heart rate was on. I wanted to just sort of see what effort would be like. So I did 10 minutes at 3:24 pace, which felt uncomfortably hard. It was mechanically, it just felt a bit too quick off the gun, and it was pretty cold, and I'm just not going real well when it's cold early. So that's the old body. I decided that at the Gold Coast I would do like a long effort before the race started, just to get into rhythm. Then I did 5 minutes hard, 5 minutes jog, into 8 minutes again at that cruisier rhythm, 3:22 it ended up being, and the body was warmed up by then and it felt really smooth. So it gave me a lot of confidence, actually, this workout. And the shoes felt really good, so I sort of locked in the size there and the model that I was going to run in. Got the sock shoe combination. There's little things, right? Little things that you sort of play on your mind that you think about too much, like, do I do a lace lock on my shoe? What sort of sock do I wear with this size? Do I go a higher sock, a mid sock? Is it going to be warmer? So I go the mid sock. High socks look a lot cooler.
Mate, you're pacing. You're not even racing.
Yeah, but I was more nervous for this than any race I've done. There's a lot more pressure if you pull out, like you look like a dickhead. If you're there pacing and you don't make the distance, like we saw it happen a few years ago, as we just said, and I reckon we threw some banter around at someone who didn't make the distance. So I didn't want that to be me. Thursday, just on the treadie in the morning, had a big day at work that day. Friday, I did the other model that comes out is the Metaspeed Sky. So the ASICS have always done 2 shoes in their race shoe lineup since they kind of brought out super shoes. And there are some pretty significant differences between the Edge and the Sky in the Tokyo version. We won't get into the details of it, but the Sky is firmer up front, the plate sits higher, the foam is the opposite of what the Edge has, so it's firmer foam up front, whereas the Edge has softer foam up front and bouncier off the forefoot. And I went for one 800 metre lap of my block, and I knew that wasn't going to be my shoe. So that was also really good to just get a conclusive no for me from that shoe. I headed up Friday night on the plane from Avalon, so that was nice as well, just a shorter trip in the car. And Saturday morning, jogged along the coast. So I thought woke up, watched the half marathon on TV. That was a great watch. We'll talk about that later. And then, went out for a jog. Thought I would run into the 450 shakeout runs that were going on this Saturday morning. Funnily enough, didn't see a single shakeout run. I'm not sure whether it was too late, too early, or whether the shakeout run clubs don't really run that much and maybe just spent the time inside their cafe. But it was nice to get up the Goldie and realise, like, the beach up here is sensational. Like, we give it a lot of stick, the Goldie, but if you're running along the coast and it's a nice day, the sun's out, the wind's sort of offshore, all the clubbies are out training and the surfers are out, it's pretty nice up here.
This is where you insert the bit about concrete, though.
But it was a rough run. And even at 8K, I was thinking, geez, this would be hard to do a long run up here along this footpath, which is essentially all they have. So that was Saturday. Sunday, well, we had a few duties Saturday arvo. So the briefing was in the afternoon, where we heard the plans for the race. Like, for anyone that hasn't been, I think you've explained it before, maybe for the Gold Coast last year, or you went to it. When was the last one you went to?
Sydney, I reckon. So the technical meeting. Is it quite like tense feeling for you? Like, you've got the athletes, the agents, the pacers don't know what they're doing until the agents make a decision. The race directors, there's this nervous energy around the place. Like, big money up for grabs as well. Like, people in that room are going home with, tens of thousands of dollars this afternoon. So I always find that they're tense environments.
This wasn't like that.
Okay.
So this was...
Maybe I've got it wrong.
I think you are the one that makes it tense.
Maybe I make it tense.
Yeah, no, this was super cruisy. Ryan McDonald, the race director.
Good operator.
He is very smooth mover. And he just sort of makes everyone feel comfortable. I'm not sure the talent was in the room there that made things tense and stressful. I don't think that the agents were... Like, the money's not as big. I don't think we're talking the sort of level that Sydney was and will be. But maybe we can talk about that later, about the fields as well. But it was certainly cruisier. As a pacer, we get access to bottles on tables, which was appreciated, so I filled those up, got them in, knowing it would be a bit warmer. I filled it with electrolytes, every one of my bottles, and thankful for that as well. So it was sort of preparing. For me, I just prepared for it like it would be a marathon effort. It was good practice.
Was it confirmed that they still wanted to go around that 2:24 marathon pace for the women?
There was no communication outside of it saying 2:24 on the screen, and I stood up and said, that's me. And no one wanted to talk to me. None of the athletes were interested. And it kind of shows that they weren't actually interested in the pace at all. And I'm confident that they knew yesterday that they weren't going to chase that pace. And so that's why they wanted to have no interaction whatsoever. And that was fine. But I was doing it with Fraser Darcy. He was there as well. So it was us together. So pretty good sleep for me. Like, you wake up here, it's such an early morning, everyone complains about that. I was up at 4, the alarm went off at 4, and I had 8 hours sleep. So, I guess being away from a 3-year-old can be a bit of a blessing. Performance
enhancing?
Yeah, so I was lights out at 8 and then up at 4 and thought, whoa, I never sleep this well. Like, this is a good day, good morning. In the athlete lounge, they had some porridge sachets and toast, that kind of thing. So I went down, had a coffee, had a little bit of a meal before going back up, getting changed, jump on the bus, head to the aquatic centre. And the aquatic centre's where the elite area is. It's a very comfortable little place. They got food and water and toilets, showers, all that sort of stuff. Very relaxed atmosphere I felt this morning. There was no real tense. Like you mentioned, it was a very chilled out area. I've been in some of those places that are really tense and there's a lot of pressure in there, but I didn't feel that this morning. I think maybe the forecast of weather being slightly detrimental took a little bit of the worry off people. Almost like we don't, like we don't have to hit the perfect splits today and we'll be okay. So yeah, then the race started. Our job was to run 3:25. The front, like the initial start block, was filled with a lot of elites and sub-elites, and I just posted myself up next to the African ladies, and I tried to keep an eye on my watch for that first kilometre, and I know it's only a kilometre. Well, even 200 metres in, it's hard to know what pace you're actually on, and I'd gone out slow. Mine said 3:35 and there was no one around me, and I got to the kilometre mark, split the watch at 3:29 and there's no one around me, and then just dropped back, had a little chat to Fraser about the paces we were going, and yeah, the ladies were well behind us at that point. So I got to the 2K mark, I'd run 3:25 and looked around, and there was no ladies sort of within 30 or 40 metres of me. I thought, this is like, what do I actually do here? Is it expected that I go and encourage them to run the pace, or do I just run in front of them, or do I just run the pace? I had some communications with Ryan about what to do in this circumstance, and he sort of said, we're flexible, make the decision out there, use your intuition about it. So I dropped back, sat in front of the women, and then I found myself always running off on them at 3:28, 3:29 pace. They were not interested in coming whatsoever. So the first 5K was sort of us just coming to the realisation that we don't run splits anymore. So we just run for the women, a little bit in front of them. They weren't interested in staying behind us really at any point. So it was quite an awkward run, to be honest. I spent the whole time just with my head on a swivel, just making sure they were still there.
Surely you weren't thinking just, this is easy cash. I don't have to run slower than I expected to.
You're worried about that?
Worried about what?
You got told 72 through halfway and you went through in 74? I'm not getting paid today. This is too slow.
Yeah, there wasn't anything else I could do.
Yeah.
So there was clear opportunity for them to run faster. And the good thing was there was a camera showing it.
Yeah.
So there was, if the race was watching, they were thinking, these ladies are not here today to run fast.
You definitely did the right thing, Moose. Ryan would be more disappointed if you just ran off and ran through halfway in 72 minutes.
By
and
yourself.
They're 2.5 minutes behind you. You're not serving any purpose to them. But today's one of those days where pacemakers wasn't needed. Those girls were just interested in racing to win, and time was irrelevant, which means pacemakers are irrelevant.
You were right. You're right. You're 100% right. We weren't needed because at any given time there was probably 6 or 7 men in front of them as well, except maybe after the 32K mark. And it was really tough because I would go to the front of the group, and then there would always be 4 to 10 men sort of pile in behind me, and I couldn't see behind to see where the women were, and they would sort of get on the back and push you along a little bit, and then I would look back, can't see the women, so I'd pull out into the gutter and stop, not stop, but I'll just put the handbrake on massively and have to rejoin them again. So it was really difficult because of the amount of men around. It would have been much easier if you just had a clear road. A few Mulligans track singlets just pushing me as well. They were given some instruction, I reckon, just to...
Yeah, well, they expect you to run 72 minutes, mate.
Yeah, well, they were quiet. They were pest-like out there. Anytime I saw one of those singlets, I'm like, here we go again. We got to the 21... We got to the halfway mark, and there was one athlete, I can't remember her name, but she just put the gas, she put her foot on the gas there, and we just started to burn fewer in front of us, so a few men. We started to catch all the people that had passed us. Probably for about 4K, I reckon we ran low 3:20s at that point, which felt like we were really moving because around us was 3:30 to 3:35 pace, so we were just chewing people up. And then we got to 25K and the handbrake went on again, and all of a sudden it was 3:30s, 3:35s. It was pretty frustrating at that point, just because you felt like you'd you're about to start your job. Like, oh, here, I can have some influence. But yeah, they weren't interested, and it got to 30K and the roads had cleared out. And I thought, this shouldn't be pacemakers here. Like, there's 4 ladies left. There's 12K left in the race to go. There's no times on offer. Like, we should just let these girls race now. But we get paid to 35K. So I'm just going to get to 35K. And I said to Fraser, I'm like, mate, you should just let them race. Like, and then, so he took off. I pulled out, and they got slower, basically. And it turned into just a sprint finish. So it wasn't the best like display of women running from the women today. But yeah, I was happy because 30K was what I thought I would get to, but at the slow pace meant I could get to 35 fine. Got some sore calves, maybe from the shoes. Like, they're a little bit softer up front than I'm used to, so perhaps like I sink into the front a little more. Maybe that makes a difference, but I'm not sure. Yeah, and jog back to the finish.
So in the lead up to this event, you sort of weren't real sure where your fitness was at. Like, does today give you much of a guide, or was it just too slow to get too much info?
I think if I can get to 35K at that pace with like a tempo effort in the middle of it, feeling fine, which I did, like I could have finished today, that gives me confidence for sure. Because I haven't done any workout longer than 40 minutes, and I haven't done a long run at pace on roads. Like, I haven't worn super shoes for more than an hour, so it was a really good test. Yeah, I was happy, mainly that I didn't fuck it up, but I was happy with how it all played out.
What pace did you average for the 35K?
On Strava, it says 3:30.
Okay, so that's like, I think 95% of 220 marathon pace is like 3:28.
Yeah, it would have been
a good workout.
That. Yeah,
you wouldn't be able to do that at home. 35K at 95%.
No, I mean, we had drinks every 5K.
Yeah.
We had people cheering on the sideline. We had a job to do.
Did you get a lot of cheers?
Yeah, but being around the women's cool. Yeah. Like, because the crowds go nuts. Yeah, you got the camera up there, so people know the women are in the field, or they're coming up, and there is a lot of love for the lead women. Yeah.
I thought you had a joke then, Croaks, but good work. Well done, Moose. We're going to move on to Croaks. Just, trying to stick to a timeline today, and his recap goes to 25 minutes. It's really just puts.
And I reckon one of his Moose on the looses over the years have been pacemakers making it about themselves. He's done a pretty good job there. And also, Moose, I am the happiest guy on the Gold Coast, not because you paced the women to the slowest time since 2012.
Here it comes. Here it comes.
But because after last year's debacle where you ran on the course without a bib, I thought you had a lifetime ban from this event. So I'm happy that they've let you back on the Gold Coast and running in the event.
We probably should mention last year on Monday, or was it Tuesday morning, we woke up to a message from one of the stalwarts of the Gold Coast Marathon.
Big name ambassador of the Gold Coast
been
Marathon.
Around a long time, does all the commentary, and with a scathing message about what I did that day. But the message got deleted very quickly afterwards. So he wanted us to see it, but he didn't want us to be registering it.
Because I think he said, I'm happy for you to actually put this on your podcast as well.
Yeah, read it out.
About it? He's like, okay, no.
I think the next morning it may have been retracted.
Yeah. Oh, look, I put my hand up, so that was probably not what we should have done.
No, you shouldn't have.
That was my bad.
Croaks, take us through your week. Not much running.
Yeah, my week wasn't too exciting. In fact, it's all written down on my boarding pass. Monday, so I had the weekend off just because I was dealing with that Achilles tendon issue with some crepitus in it. I ran 8K out at Mulligan's at 4:30 kilometre pace. Felt good for about the first 4K, then started to get a little bit niggly. Nothing too bad. Tuesday, I jumped on the treadmill, 5-minute Ks for 15 minutes, and it wasn't terrible, but I'm like, I'm not achieving anything here. And I know with some of these acute Achilles or any acute tendon issues, if you actually give it just 2-3 days of complete rest, it can just become 100%. Whereas if you're sort of testing it every couple of days, it can just drag on for a month. So I pulled the pin at 15 minutes. I then didn't run Wednesday. That was the day that we flew up, or Thursday. Brady arrived around lunchtime on Friday and he said, "Oh, are you running?" I said, "Yep, I'll come for a run." So he met me. Saw him prancing up the esplanade. I'm like, well, here we go. He's excited. So we started.
Can we just say, this prancing for me was about 4:45k pace.
Oh, well,
Somehow that changed pretty quick.
Go check your Strava. Anyway, we started heading south, and because it was late Friday afternoon, they got the night markets on.
It annoyed him so much, Moose.
I'm like,
He could not get rolling.
Oh, this is terrible running, Brady. Let's head north. So we turned around. I did 8.5k at 4:16s. My Achilles felt 100%, so that was positive. Yesterday morning, got out for 11k. Headed south, ran into Jack, one of my athletes, ran with him for a bit, averaged 4:12s. And then today, after everybody had sort of gone through, I think I started running around 9 o'clock, I just ran out on the course, out towards SeaWorld and back. It was actually quite an enjoyable run because all those roads are closed, but there's no runners out there. So I did 10.5k at 4:20s. Week of 41.5k. Body feels good and motivated to try and get fit.
Good, Croaks, good. This week will be a normal week, back to the treadmill for 2 workouts?
No, we don't get back till Wednesday, so I'll jog all of this week and hopefully do a light workout on Friday and then just slowly build things up again.
Good. Motivated though, seeing people in action on the roads? Yeah,
like I certainly didn't have any FOMO like from running. I think it's when you're not very fit, like the idea of going out and racing is actually not that appealing. But it was good having, I guess, the coach's hat on, but also having the whole family up here. Dad hat on as more of a family holiday. But I am excited to try and get fit and have more than 8 weeks of 100k in the next 6 months. So
good work.
Got
something?
Booked the flights for Valencia yet?
No, I haven't. That's definitely going to be a real late call, I think. There's no point going unless I'm fit, and I'm not going to know whether I'm going to have a chance to be fit probably need to have a really good next 2 months, get to September with some momentum, and then go, okay, I could actually run a decent marathon.
What's the over-under time? If you're when you say, I won't go unless I'm fit, is that 2:25 fit or 2:18 fit? To sit on the plane for 20 hours, spend a bit of cash. We know you don't like spending cash. If there's anyone out there listening who owns an airline, some kind of connection there, that would come in real handy for Croaks.
I reckon I'd have to be probably low 220s.
Okay. So then what % do you put on him that he's going to get into that shape between now and December?
Hasn't been a good run for the old boy. Not with Achilles like that.
Are you saying 20% chance of going, 80% not?
If he thinks he's going to needs to be in low 220 shape, by when?
December. Started December.
No, he needs to know that before he's booking flights.
I need to be in a position in September that with a marathon block I could get myself to low 220s. So if I have a really crap July, August, September, and I'm in the same situation I am now, I'm not going to be running low 220s. 10.
Don't want to be on the record here.
It's all right,
I think about 30% chance.
Okay.
Achilles can niggle. You know that. It's niggled since February now, right?
Well, the other heel was December.
Oh, it's a different one.
Yeah, it's the other one.
Oh.
It's all good. It's
Down
all
to
good.
5.
I think 30%. I think what you need to do is shift your perspective on wanting to be, because that time at your age, you're in the top 1% of the world. So you need to stop thinking.
Goalposts.
Yeah, exactly. You got to enjoy your running. You'll never enjoy your running or experiences elsewhere if you keep thinking that that's the only way that you're going to compete again.
2:28 at Valencia, enjoying the race.
Oh,
Look at his face.
What if you never get back in that shape?
I ran 227
Yeah, be 2 elitist.
I ran 227 in Melbourne last year, and I did not enjoy that experience at all.
Yeah.
But this is 5 minutes off your lifetime best.
2:22.
2:22, right?
Yeah.
So
I'd be stoked with that.
yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is
You're
that
saying add another 5.
if you're not going to ever race, if you're 5 minutes or less off that, then that's just a bit.
No, it's not saying I'll never.
Sad to me.
It's not saying I'll
race
never
again.
race. It's just it's a long way to go.
Yeah, okay.
For 220.
It's Valencia.
Yeah,
You
You've got to
still have
experience
time.
things in the sport though. Catch up with Chriso.
Yeah. All right. We'll see. Let's just string together a few 100k weeks first.
Yeah, we've got a long way to go. I'm going to recap this or whistle through it. Monday, I was cooked. I got home late from Paris on Sunday night. I tell you boys I was in Paris last week? That wasn't good. Going in and out of Europe for 3 days, that really messed with my body clock. So I did 70 minutes at 4:39 pace. Felt bad. I was locked up. That groin issue that I had, like not running much for 3 or 4 days. I think those tendons or whatever that issue was, it didn't like me not doing a lot of running. So it didn't feel good. Tuesday, 70 minutes and 4 by 15-second strides. Still real tired there as well. Wednesday, had a bit of a go at a workout, 15 by 1 minute on, 1 minute jog. Instructions were to like get some rhythm. So Dan was like, do them at like threshold effort, just get some rhythm. Don't need to knock this out of the ballpark because you've got a race on Saturday. So take it easy there. And then I got on the treadmill for 30 minutes that afternoon, watched Welcome to Wrexham Croaks. Still a big fan of that show. Thursday, woke up real tired. So I'm just getting over this jet lag. But have I told you about our neighbour's dog before, Moose? I reckon I have. Keeps me up. And then at 9:30 p.m. every night, fires up, starts barking, and just like 1 a.m, 2 a.m.
Possums, mate.
We're central Moama. We don't have possums in central Moama, I don't think. But anyway, so I go out there in my Lululemon like loungewear that I sleep in. Dog can't see me, but if you yell at the dog, it settles down. So like you roll out there at 2 a.m. Now the dog doesn't know that I'm 56 kilos, head to toe Lululemon. But so you've really got to put on the voice to be like threatening. Like,
is that your teacher voice?
Yeah, do you want me to read? I was like,
Yeah.
sit down, like that. Like, I'm pretending I'm like a 105 kilo truck driver with a beard. So then we settled in. So we figured out that theory. I can't wait for my neighbours to get home so we can get this dog under control.
I'm going to send this podcast to them. You've been yelling at their dog.
Yeah, I'm trying to control their dog. It sounds like it's in distress. Like seriously, like it needs someone like
It's in distress, so you're yelling at them.
A settling voice. Someone just to let them know they're there, caring about them. So terrible night's sleep Thursday, which is not what I needed. And running a half marathon in like 2 days was, definitely not motivating me at all. Did 60 minutes at 4:43 pace. Had a call with the coach. So that's the one thing he offers once a month, a bit of a call. So that was always good. He called me Thursday night and I said, hey, I'm pretty keen to pace Jess Stenson. She wants to break 69 minutes on Saturday. Any chance I can do that? I don't really want to run a half marathon. And he said, no, you're racing. Put the heart rate monitor on.
He said, I think Jess Stenson's in 74-minute shape, actually.
We'll get to that shortly. But he said, go through 10K in like 31:40, 32 minutes. We kind of agreed on that. And then see how you feel. Get your heart rate data. I said, do you want me to like chase a certain number? And he said, nah, you've been running long enough to know what 10K through a half marathon should feel like. We went off and it was quick. Like I went through the first K in like 3:05 and the car, like I was coming like 50th. That was an insanely quick start to that race. And we'll get to it when we talk about the results. Settled into a nice little pack of guys. Toby the bad boy Mende was next to me, which was good. He was trying to crack some jokes. I couldn't really respond because my heart rate was at like 170.
They're not very funny anyway.
Not funny joke. No, he had some good ones. He knows everyone. So there was like a couple of like Instagram people around us and he's pointing people out and having some good gags. Then the group split at about 8K. I settled in the back half of the group. We went through 10K in 31:46, so spot on. And I thought maybe we could break 67 minutes for the day. Did the U-turn, and then when you're just sitting in a pack and the pace is too slow, like you're feeling comfortable, but you're not feeling that comfortable to leave the pack at say 12K and like push home. I was like, that's where I was at. And then around 17K, Ollie Palmer, he runs up here for the Burt squad, I think. He went off the front and he could smell blood because Aidan Hobbs and Joel Tobin White had just dropped off, or they were coming back to us pretty quick. So he put in this massive surge to go past those two. I went past with him, and then 800 metres later, I realised that was a bad move, and then he dropped me also. And then I settled back into the pack that I was in originally, and I'm like, this isn't good. So then we turned the corner at like 20K. And I'm not sure if you boys ever do this. You pretend the 35 people in front of you aren't actually there and you just want to win the pack you're in. You ever do that? Just ignore that you're like 8 minutes behind the leader. Yeah.
Not a bad tactic.
A good little strategy.
Yeah.
I was sitting in this back of 6 guys and I'm like, I really want to beat these guys. And at this stage, the bad boy's coming back to me. He was 35 seconds up at me at 15K and he was having a real bad day. He was having a good day, bad couple of Ks. So I tried to pull him in. I didn't. Finished in 67:38, which about 2 minutes off my best, but I think that's exactly where I'm at. Like I've only really been going for the last last month's probably been consistent training. Take out that trip to Paris, which wasn't great. My heart rate average was 170. So my threshold heart rate was 168 the other day in the lab. So that shows that I was working where I needed to work. So yeah, that was good. I enjoyed those shoes as well, Moose. I wore the same ones you're talking about, the Edge Tokyo. Bit lighter, bit softer. So yeah, that was good. And then I did 40 minutes easy on course today, Croaks. What about this? I'm just jogging along. People in the race are telling me to relax my jaw when they're racing. I'm like, concentrate on your race. Great joke, but concentrate on your race. Someone in the finishing chute yesterday said, go as fast as a penguin. And I'm like, this is bullshit. I get all these gags thrown my way. I appreciate it, but yeah, that was a week of 110K.
I got a question on your race and your strategy. And one of the things about your Dan Nash's training, like this guy runs marathons looking at his heart rate, right? At what point does it get a little bit too scripted and scientific to get the best out of yourself?
Yeah, so he told me not to do that. He's like, the feel of a half marathon. If we're going to look at heart rate, we'd probably only do that for the first 25, 30K of a marathon.
So will you do that in a marathon?
I don't know. If he tells me to, I will. I like seeing the green boxes get ticked. So whatever he tells me, I'll do. So it makes sense though, doesn't it?
No, well...
You're not plugging this app again, eh? I feel
like the weather app, is that what you're about to tell me?
There's more to running than science, right? There's more to running than what your heart rate says. This is the thing, where does the heart take over? The best runners can defy physiology to a degree. And if you're trapped in this thing where I'm not allowed to do this or this or this and I've got to stick to this, at what point does the art take over the science with running?
But wouldn't that be in the last 12K of a marathon? Wouldn't this just put you in a position to be able to let the intuition and your animalistic, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I think even Dan in one of his podcasts said the same sort of thing. It's keep an eye on the heart rate for 30K, then after that, you can forget about it and basically try and bring it home.
Strategy to stay disciplined.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then because your heart rate, if it's a hot day, well, you're going to be running slower because you're looking at your heart rate anyway.
Hold on. How's Croaks getting the free coaching just from listening to the podcast?
Listens to the podcast. Yeah.
Won't go to Dan and say, can you help me out?
No, this was the podcast that when you interviewed him for our podcast.
Come on, mate, our podcast.
I haven't listened to that one.
We're not giving people free shout-outs for podcasts here today.
Hold on, though.
Okay.
Again.
Yep.
Croaks, will you go and get some help given Valencia is in December and this is something you want to run 222? Who's going to help you?
Get some help.
Yeah, I don't know. We probably shouldn't go into that here. We don't have time to discuss that. But it's a good point, Moose. Maybe. I need to get just a base level of fitness first.
If you're listening, the chances are you're gearing up for a race. But how dialed in is your race day nutrition? Precision Fuel and Hydration makes it simple with a free online planner to calculate your carb, sodium and fluid needs for peak performance. Their product, like the 90-gram resealable gel, helps you hit your numbers with ease. That's why legends like 4-time Olympian Lisa Waitman and ultra runner Hayden Hawks trust them too. Head to the link in the show notes to create your personalised strategy and then use code IR-Spring 2025 for 15% off your first order. Or if you're a Patreon supporter, grab your exclusive 20% off discount code from our member-only episodes. Time to level up your performance. Click the link now. Now back to the episode.
Ladies and gentlemen, our guest is about to join us on stage. She's a Commonwealth Games gold medalist and recently finished 13th place at the 2024 Paris Olympic Games. She raced yesterday, which we'll get into. She's a Lululemon ambassador. Jess Stenson, welcome back to the Inside Running Podcast.
Hello.
Feel like we've done this a few times now, Jess, haven't we? Welcome back. Thanks for being involved. Not your day yesterday?
No, apparently not. 74-minute half marathon runner. No, it was a bit of a tough one.
What happened? Give us a breakdown. I kind of read your caption on Instagram.
I didn't go into too much detail there, and I don't really know where to start. I I came to this event hoping to run a half marathon PB. You don't get to race that many on good courses, and so sub 69 was the goal, and there was a pacer in the race who'd agreed sort of with Leanne and a few of us to go at 3:15, so sort of 68:30 pace. But he sort of said, "I'll just settle in, do whatever in the first K, and then we'll get a bit of a pack going." So I felt fine yesterday morning, and like there have been some hiccups over the last couple of weeks, but that's pretty stock standard. Like I've had good runs before with hiccups in the lead up, so I try not to focus on those. And the first K, as you said, just went bang, and that was like a 3:11. Looking back, I didn't know that at the time, and it felt pretty good. Kind of settled into a pack. I think like Leanne would have been there. I'm not sure if Caitlin was there, but a couple of Japanese girls and some of the guys. And for the first 5Ks, I was feeling really comfortable. Looking back now, we were actually running 3:18s. I didn't know that at the time. I just kind of assumed, found the rhythm. We're probably around 3:15 pace. Soon after that little hairpin at around 7Ks, I was like, oh, this effort's suddenly gone from really comfortable to really tough. And I was like, I'm going to have a gel here, which was earlier than I planned to. So I had one of the big gels. I was like, hopefully this gives me a boost. Going up to the 10K turnaround, I was like, oh, this is going to be tough. Hopefully there'll be a bit of a tailwind or something after that. Get around the corner, and that's when I really properly sort of lost the pack. And then I had a few training partners run past, and they're like, keep going. And there was a Japanese athlete, and the male with her was sort of just ahead of me. I was like, I'll try and tack onto him. And I was like, oh, this really isn't feeling good. I could go to the well and probably finish in a mediocre time. Following Launceston, which I spoke about in my chat with you, Moose, I had a bit of a hamstring tendon flare-up, and I've just got that settled in the last week. Training's just not been that comfortable or enjoyable with it, so I was sort of weighing up in my head whether I wanted to risk flaring that up for a result that wasn't sort of what I was aiming for. And anyway, somewhere around the 12.5K mark, I was like, no, I'm going to stop racing. How can I still be useful? I was like, I'll pace someone going in the other direction. So I crossed the road and joined the masses heading back up towards the 10K mark. And I was sort of looking around like, does anyone want help? And then I saw one of my training partners going in the other direction, and the look on his face was just sympathy. He was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. So then I jumped back onto the other side of the road and sort of ran back towards the finish line like, what can I do here? Like, jogging is still uncomfortable. Like, you've still got to complete the distance. And had lots of people going past. Tiana, one of the SA girls, came past. I was like, I'll try and help you. Tried to run her pace, couldn't run her pace. I was like, far out. I've just got to... So people were saying, like, keep going. And I was just like, not my day. Moose's favourite line. So... I crossed the finish line and pretty quickly got excited because I saw that Caitlin had smashed it, and obviously heard about the all-comers record. But yeah, it's not a good feeling. Like it was essentially a DNF type thing, but I really don't want to DNF. So I was like, I've still got to finish this race. But just knowing that there was that point where I consciously said, I'm not racing anymore. It's just a yuck.
What did the chat between you and Adam look like?
Yeah, I had a message from him just like, hey Jess, hope everything's okay, give me a call. And I could tell he was worried. Got on the phone. Once he heard that it wasn't my hamstring that caused me to stop, he was pretty happy. He's like, yeah, we can figure this out, you'll be fine. Because in our pre-race chat he said, whatever you do tomorrow, just don't compromise your upcoming sort of races by pushing through pain. So yeah, one of the positives is the hamstrings feeling good, because just having that niggle in training, particularly with the cold mornings in Adelaide, it really does detract from your enjoyment.
You don't really have a lot of bad races. I think we've discussed that before, how consistent you are. So when you start dropping off, it's a foreign position for you to be in. I think if Like, I have a lot of bad races. So I'm used to that feeling, and I know sort of in my head what I've done in the past, but this is so new.
Yeah, I think what scares me is you're like, was it physical or mental? And it really scares me that it could have been mental. But then you sort of look at your history and you're like, no, usually I can rally and find it if you've got to go with your gut feeling. And I think if anything, I might have decided not to go to that place mentally, knowing that I have some big races coming up. So I have to sort of say, yeah, to some extent it was mental because I didn't push myself to the extreme, but it was with the sort of future in mind. But yeah, it's certainly not a nice feeling. Like, you come to these events, there's so much excitement and you're sort of celebrating everyone else's result, and in the pit of your stomach you just feel, yeah, like you missed an opportunity. Particularly, and I think you said this maybe after Chicago, it was one of those days where Dylan's at home with the kids, like I'm away for however many nights, and I was like, and I've got nothing really to show in terms of a result for that, so you feel bad for the people at home who have allowed you to come here and do this.
This is running though. Like, I'd say if you took a cross-section of our audience, 60 to 70% of people would be disappointed in their run today or yesterday. It's just sort of, I think that's how it goes.
And sometimes it takes a bit of a rough one to then go to another level as well. If you keep on this trajectory, you almost get a bit scared that, like, at what point is something going to... So, yeah.
The hiccup in training leading in, was that your hamstrings, what you were talking about?
Oh, the hamstring's been an issue, and then just... Like, it was over a week ago, I just had a bit of a food poisoning bout, which it only knocked me for one night, and then I missed a session and got back into it. I sort of tried to see that as a positive. It meant I had a bigger taper. So certainly I had a really good taper coming into this race, but you just don't know what... I'm not going to blame that. I think it was far enough away that it didn't impact me, but it probably did just affect my energy levels for a few days there. And yeah, you've got to kind of go through these experiences because that could happen before a big race, and you'd kind of need to know how to manage it if it happens.
And looking ahead, it was announced 2 weeks ago that you'll be lining up for the Sydney Marathon, and then I believe you're also planning on doing Valencia. Is that like a relatively short turnaround between those two? Like, will you prioritise one over the other?
Yeah, I think my goal for Sydney is to get really strong. So just doing the stuff I love, like the longer fartleks, and that's something that has been difficult with this, the change of pace. So now that I've hopefully got this settled, I can really enjoy some of the running that I love. So maybe hillier long runs. And then Valencia, I'd go more into like honing into a particular pace in my training. So Sydney, I'm really there to race the race and the course, and this course really excites me. I ran a section of it a while back, and yeah, it's beautiful, and hopefully there'll be a great atmosphere there with the elite fields they've been able to attract. Like, even I was so excited hearing the announcement of some of the international athletes. So I'll take two different approaches into the marathons, but you're right, it is a bit of a quick turnaround.
Jess, a lot of our listeners will be familiar with the controversy around the Olympics last year. It's the first time you and Lisa will go head to head, and you know, you've also got like Safana Hassan in that field, and like the last year's winner. Like, I know you've been in world championships and big races before, but you're going to have to be on your game to be like top five, I guess. Or even the first Aussie with Leanne there as well. Yeah,
well, I think I'm ranked 14th.
Yeah.
I think 10 of the girls have got a sub 220 PB. So there's sort of that like international race, and then there's the Aussie race with Leanne and Lisa, and that excites me. Like, I think sometimes to go to the well, you have to really care about it, and this, yeah, it's just this opportunity. I think I'm going to really be motivated to give it everything, and hopefully, yeah, like all of those head-to-heads just generates more excitement in the lead-up, and you do have to then treat it like an Olympics in terms of really sort of going small and just focusing on your own prep and what you can control.
Yeah, it's going to be so special, so good for Australian distance running to see like big names at Sydney Marathon, big money up for grabs, and the best runners in the world. The Olympic gold medalist is on the start line next year.
Guy as well.
Yeah. She hasn't had a good one for a while though, has she?
Well, she was picked for the Olympics, but then got replaced by Sharon Leketi, who ended up placing really well.
Really well, yeah. The previous world record holder, 2:14 lady, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Is, sorry, not was. Jess, you're going to stay with us here because we're going to go through this running news and then you're going to give us your opinion on it if you're okay with that. But running news does come to you thanks to Axel Coffee, our race results partner, and the secret to starting every run on the right foot. Nothing beats a good coffee before hitting the pavement. The half marathon, Moose. I finished the half marathon to 57 messages between you two boys talking about this race. So you guys were well tuned in.
That many?
It was
Really?
57 in the group chat when I got back to my phone. So you guys had a lot of opinions about this.
Me and Croaks.
Yeah, you, Croaks and Zach are in our group chat.
Oh, that would have been Zaka.
I think it was most of it was about saying how good the live stream was.
No, you guys were definitely questioning some issues with the live stream. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about results.
It was quite an incredible race to watch. One of the best I've seen on the live stream, actually, like watching a race live. So in the men's, we'll just go to the results first. Andy Buchanan, he won the race in 61:08, which is an all-comers record, which means the fastest half marathon ever run in Australia. Second was Kenya Sonata, 61:10, and third was Nao Sakuda, 61:11. Isaac Hayne was second in the Aussie Champs, 61:18, and Sam Clifford was third, 61:49. So yeah, it was a pretty... there were a few key moments of this race that are probably worth discussion. And the first one was out of the blocks. Brett Robinson ran a 2:44 kilometre to gap the field and then didn't let up too much in the second kilometre and kept that big gap. And when you consider the quality of the runners in the second pack that he was gapping, it was a statement. Like it was obviously a preconceived plan that he had, and you sort of thought, oh, this is like he's running against Andy Buchanan, who is taking over from Brett, I think, as our premier like longer distance athlete in the country, and Brett's come back at the Launceston. He'd beat Andy there, and he's run quite well. And it seemed like he wanted to really make a statement here on the Gold Coast.
Yeah, I agree. When I saw it, I'm like, coming off Launceston, I'm like, okay, Brett's the king. Like he's back in, national record sort of shape again.
From what I understand, he hadn't had a big prep leading into Launceston either, so that gave him confidence with the extra 5 weeks. And I think given there was hardly any wind yesterday, I can see why he would have been prepared to just run a solo race off the front, and his strategy was obviously to try and burn the others early.
He is the national record holder in the half marathon, so he's run faster than anyone else has from Australia. But his first kilometre ended up being 10 seconds a kilometre faster than the average pace from Andy, who has run the fastest time ever in Australia. So perhaps a little too quick, like when we were in retrospect. And
I wonder if he was looking at his splits or running to field.
Yeah, he was. I watched the stream and he was definitely watching.
Yeah.
It was like 8:26 through 3K, which is 59:30 finishing time.
Yeah, and so it was Andy who eventually brought the group back up to Brett, and that happened fairly early, like maybe 3-4 kilometres, I think. Eventually, we saw Brett drop back maybe about the 9K mark. I think the group went through 28:40-ish through 10K. And then, eventually, like some of the higher profile Australians dropped back, and we ended up with a group of 4. There was these 2 Japanese runners that finished second and third. There was Andy, and then there was Isaac Hayne, who pushed Andy last year. So it was almost like watching last year's race again.
And at that point, Isaac probably looked the best. Like he was, still smiling as he does, sort of, I think he gave a love heart to the camera at one point. And I'm like, he's going to run away with this.
Yeah, he was doing some of the work too. And then the Japanese got on front. So at about, like as you turn down into the little riverside road, I forget what that road's called, but that's when the Japanese went to the front and you could sort of see the moves happening. And so Isaac went with the move, and then Andy got gapped. So I think probably at the worst it might have been 10 metres, which is a fairly big gap, especially on TV, you can sort of see it. And you thought, oh, this happened last year. And maybe the Japanese watched last year's race. Isaac certainly knew what was going on because he was there last year and he didn't put him away. And he didn't get dropped any further than that 10-metre gap, but he also wasn't coming back for probably 2 kilometres. And so you were worried about what might happen to if you were an Isaac supporter, as you definitely are, Jess. You love Isaac, we know that.
Yeah, I wasn't watching any of this live though. I'm hearing it all now.
Then you saw Andy gradually creeping back, and you saw the Japanese runners. They might have. I'm not sure the splits they were running, but you could see the gap getting smaller. And Andy got on the back, and instead of just jumping on the back, it was at this really significant corner as you turn right back up to join the main sort of highway into probably at 1,200 to go, I think it is, maybe 1,500 to go. And instead of following the pack, the 3 runners in front, he cut the tangent, which you're looking back, you wonder why the others didn't do that. And he cut the gap. Maybe he took back 3 metres doing that, found himself on the front, and he just ran for home. And immediately, Isaac, I think, dropped off that pack. He tried, and the Japanese stayed with him. And it was just like this turning of the gears. And he just turned the gear, and all of a sudden just cut them off. Not out of the race. That's what was so good about this, is that we got to see a full-on finish where there was a chance that he would get done. But he put enough of a gap there, and he took the sting out of the Japanese runners where they couldn't out-sprint him at the end.
The fact that it happened pretty much exactly the same last year, and hearing his interviews, it's almost because he got dropped at 4K to go and then got back on with about 1.5K to go. And it's almost in that period, he's close enough and he almost gives himself this rev up going in about, 10 minutes time when I cross the line in 3rd place, I'm going to be really, really disappointed because 3rd sucks compared to 1st. And he really just goes real deep at that point to get back on. And just has a bit of mongrel there at the end.
Wasn't looking at his heart rate.
Was Andy able to see, do you think, on the screen in front where they were, or was he looking back? Or I guess he was just running his hand.
Yeah, no, he wasn't really looking back, but you could just tell, he once he got to the front, he just really strung them out to the point that they weren't catching him.
Yeah.
Yep. So that was a good watch.
Pat Carroll's record gone. We'll not have to hear about it anymore.
There'll be no more social media comments or posts. And in the commentary from now on, you'll have to come up with a new little gag. So in the women's race, Leanne Pompiani was also a back-to-back winner. Jess, you saw this one up close. Mm-hmm. Leanne was behind you for the majority of the footage, actually.
Yeah, I assume she was sort of right there in the pack. I think maybe around 6Ks is where she came up beside me. And then, she was really strong. Rory said that, I can't remember if it was K17 or somewhere, she's dropped a 3:12, and she's just, such a fierce competitor, and was brilliant out there. Yeah,
very good in the half too, we're seeing. Good signs for her, also for Sydney, this far out, to be able to run like that and close that hard.
Sure.
Caitlin Adams was second, 70.26 in a big PB.
50 seconds, I think, something like that. About 50 seconds?
Yeah, so she shaved, I think, nearly 2 minutes off in Launceston and then another minute or so off. So, she's
one to watch, Croaks. Remember I told you that in 2021?
That's right, actually.
Got on that stock real early.
I actually think I was the original Caitlin Adams.
No, I was. That was
to go
me.
back through that.
Yeah, okay.
And Madoka Nakano was third in 70.40. Tara Palm was the third Aussie in 72.08. And interestingly, Sarah Klein, where did she finish and what was her time? Did you beat her, Jess?
She was just ahead, so maybe 74 low.
74 low, yeah. So it does bring up this marathon selection for the world champs discussion, because Sarah and Tara was sort of in competition for that final spot. So I can't imagine Sarah loved that happening. Tara's obviously making a case for that last spot, which will sort of hang on Izzy Bat-Doyle's decision, or...
Yeah, it depends. So if
we put it like that?
Well, it's really not Izzy's decision yet because she needs to be inside the quota for the 10K. Then it becomes Izzy's decision. So if she's inside the quota for the World Champs 10K, she'll choose that, which frees up a spot in the marathon.
Can she run both, the 10K and the marathon?
I don't think she will. Based on when she was on the podcast last, it sounds like she wants to focus on the 10K and then Valencia after that.
Yeah, the 10K, Matt Buckle from Bendigo, actually. So that's another Bendigo win. 29:13, beat Matt Clark 29:30 and Adrian Potter 29:33. Ruby Smee won the ladies 33:04. Sophie Malawiki was 33:38 and Jenny Blundell 33:57.
Matt Buckle has arrived. Not many people knew Matt Buckle this time last year. Great run at the Victorian 5K champs. Remember when he beat Have to?
What do you run there? What time?
Oh, it was quick, wasn't it? Like 13:52-ish, something 48, something like that. And he trains with Andy, so imagine the confidence he got out of seeing Andy go run 61:08, and then he dumped them at 7K around that turn, won that race, and put 17 seconds into him. So that's good to see Matt Buckle running well. In the marathon, Taki got the win from Japan, course record, 2:07:33. So everyone that had bad days today and was blaming the weather, this guy makes you all look bad. Because it was a rough day and you can blame the weather because it wasn't ideal marathon conditions, but a course record was set, 63:34 to 63:59, so pretty even splits.
Do you know what his PB is?
No, I'm not sure. No, person writing the agenda didn't put that in here. I'm sorry, Jess. Ota was second in 2:08:31 and Takeuchi was third in 2:08:38. And the move was made with 5K to go to win that race. Not a great day for our Australian men out there. Reece Edwards was 20th in 2:17:56 after going through halfway at about 2:13 pace. Alex Harvey was the second Australian in 2:19:39 and Hamish Hamilton was third in 2:22. Only two Aussie men under 2:22 at the Gold Coast. I'm going to ask you a question about the Gold Coast Marathon and the future of this event with elite and sub-elite athletes in a second after I go through the women's results. Yema Moose, she was the winner in 2:29:27. Kilel was third in 2:29:44 and Zerihun was third in 2:31:17. The move was made with 500 metres to go, big sprint finish. Moose, you actually coached the first Australian, Simone McInnes. She was seventh in 2:37:05. Rinny Ringi was second in 2:37. And Radka Kahlefeldt, paced by her husband Brad the whole way, in 2:42. Only 5 Australian women under 2:45. You can join in with this as well, Jess, with good prize money at Ballarat where you don't have to run super fast to win it. Sydney, amazing Australian prize money as well. Melbourne, great Australian prize money, great prize money, and no Japanese or Africans usually there. Do we see less and less sub-elite athletes and elite athletes come to the Gold Coast? Are they going to struggle with good fields now? Or good Australian fields. They've got amazing fields, course records. Don't get me wrong, a lot of Japanese and Africans. But I don't know if I'm a 2:20 or a 2:18 or a 2:29 or 2:35 lady. I don't know if I'd come to the Gold Coast.
I think the prize money's probably pretty similar between Ballarat, Gold Coast and Melbourne for first place. I think, but the difference is that at Melbourne and Ballarat, you're probably thinking it could be an opportunity to run a really fast time too if the conditions are good. But in recent years, it has been pretty hot and humid up here. So perhaps, Aussie women looking to run a fast time would maybe pick one of the others. The timing's always a bit tough too, preparing for a marathon in the southern states where it's really cold. You'd have to try and do some heat prep, I think, to have a really good one here.
Yeah.
But also it's really hard for the top Aussies to make good money at the Gold Coast because they do bring out, especially in the men, they do bring out quite a deep elite field from Japan. And so, if you're not finishing in, you probably have to run 2:11 or be a 2:11 runner to make decent prize money at the Gold Coast because of the elite fields. They do offer Oceania money, but it's not that much. So, for example, like Reece today running 2:17, I think gets $750 as an Oceania athlete. And it's like he could rock up to any local fun run or local marathon and pick up $2,000 jogging around.
He ran the same time at Ballarat and won $6,000.
But we also need to remember that Gold Coast put on these events, the elite and the sub-elite is just one aspect of it. I feel like Gold Coast is very much a destination marathon. How many people choose to do Gold Coast Marathon because, hey, I'm living in Victoria or New South Wales, it's cold down there, it's school holidays, let's go up to the Gold Coast, run a marathon. So I don't think it's a massive priority for them.
Yeah, when I said before Ballarat prize money was similar, I think it's if you add in a course record, it would be similar, which the records are still...
Yeah, probably soft, yeah.
But, yeah... No, what you say is a good point, the difference in international fields.
There's probably not that many Aussie guys and girls to go around in that timing brackets that I'm talking about as well. So.
Yeah, like how many sub-224 marathoners would there be in the country? 40?
Yeah. That was Gold Coast Marathon. Croaks, you were pretty excited this morning, Prefontaine Classic.
Yes, I was watching this while the marathon was going on. We actually had 2 world records. So sorry, spoiler alert for those that haven't heard any of the Diamond League stuff yet. But women's 1500, your girl, Faith Kipyegon.
So good.
Broke the world record or her own world record by 0.36 of a second, 3:48.68. Well, Teji was second, 3:51.44, and Jess Hull third in 3:52.67. Jess went with Faith and the pacemaker. So she was the only one. It was almost like Paris Diamond League last year where she just latched onto her. Well, Teji was about 5 metres back, sort of at the bell. Jess was there right up until 300 to go, and that's when Faith sort of pulled away. Teji caught Jess with about 100 metres to go. Pacing was perfect. It was 3 laps of 61.5 to 61.5 to 61.6, 59-second last lap. So,
what's the conversion on that to a mile?
It would probably be, like 405, 406. Yeah, so similar.
Yep. Croaks is watching this on the footpath today, Moose, on his phone. She runs 3:48.68. The first thing he says was, well, she still missed my PB. Oh. I'm like, mate, don't have to make everything about you.
Mate, I don't have many of the women's world records.
You would have been so pissed with that too.
Hey, why didn't she wear the bodysuit? If that bodysuit last week over in Paris was meant to be performance enhancing, going to shave off seconds, and it's like, surely that's regulation. Like, she should be able to wear that in a Diamond League.
Yeah, what are you asking me for?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, women's 5K, the winner of this race well and truly took my PB. Beatrice Chibet, world record, and the first female to run under 14 minutes. She ran 13:58 for a 2-second world record. Agnes Ngedic, 14:01.29, which is like a 24-second PB. And Segai was third, 14:04. Pacemaker dropped out after 2K. Beatrice was on the front the rest of the way, went through 3K in 8:22, closed in 61 seconds. And I saw the result and then I went back and watched it, and Segai was still there with less than 200 metres to go and basically just threw the anchors out. It was almost like she had to slow down that much, otherwise she wasn't going to make it to the finish line. It was weird to see because what was the gap between them? 6 seconds.
6 seconds in 150
metres. So that was women's 5K. Any thoughts?
Amazing. Chibet's last 150 metres, though, was also incredible to watch.
29 hasn't been broken on the track?
It's been broken on the roads, hasn't it?
I don't think it's been broken on the track,
that'll
though.
be the next thing.
Yeah.
Bauman Mile had a couple of Aussies in this one. Laros got the win, 3:45.94, beat Nagoose by 1/100th of a second, and Habs ran 3:46.65. Nagoose was the only one that really went with the pacemaker, so he sort of gapped the rest of the field. Habs got latched onto him after about 900 metres, and they were 20 metres in front of the rest of the field with a lap to go. At that point, Laros made his move. Cam Myers was sitting like mid-pack most of the race, but he moved up into third just before the bell, and Laros went past him. So Cam was in fourth all the way until Cam got caught just 50 to go by Cole Hocker and one of the Kenyans. So and then the finish of this, so Nagoose was still quite a way in front, started to tie up, and Laros got him pretty much on the line. It was almost, I don't know, it was half, did you see it? Yeah. It was like he's half blowing up, but also about to celebrate as well. There's this photo where he's sort of like ready to, you know.
He was cooked though, same thing, like 100 metres to go, he was in big trouble.
Good run from Cam though. So Cam finished 6th in the end, 3:47.50, 200ths of a second outside the Aussie record, and Ollie Hall was 15th in 3:51.6.
So good to nearly get that Australian record, Croaks. Your boy. Did you message him afterwards? Send him some advice?
No, I haven't messaged him yet, but he's the real deal. But like he's in the top handful now. So this is probably the first Diamond League race that he's done, because he's done a couple when he was a bit younger. But this is the first time where he's been up against all of those big guys like Hocker and Nagoose, and he's actually throwing down with them.
And if you want to be outkicked by anyone, it's Hocker. Like he's one of the best in.
Yeah. They also had an international mile which had Adam Spencer in it. He finished 4th in 3:50.19. It was a PB, but just outside the World Championship qualifying time. Women's steeple, Winfried Jarvi got the win, 8:45.23. It was only 1 second off the world record. Faith Cheretich was second, 8:48. The Mutola 800 metres was won by Sigi Daguma, 1:57.1, beating Prudence Segodaso, 1:57.16. And there was also a 10,000 metre race won by Biniam Mahari, 26:43. Aragawi was also 26:43. Barega was third, 26:44. And your boy, Brady, Connor Mance, 27:35, which I thought was a little bit disappointing for Connor, given the calibre of athlete he is now.
Yeah, he did call it in a post-race interview a 6-mile tempo run because it went bad. But Jess, if you want to label did you not upload to Strava as well?
Did mine?
Yeah, you only upload the good stuff, don't you?
No, it was a little bit confusing with that little blip where I've crossed the road and everything.
I would have loved
maybe I'll put it up there.
Can you please put it up for Croaks? Croaks loves seeing your stuff.
Context.
There was a track meet in France. Jude Thomas ran 3:32.3 for the win. So that's good, him winning races in times like that. Jack Anstey was also there, the Queenslander. He was 10th in 3:34.46. Georgie Griffith was 4th in the 1500 in 4:03. Those results brought to you by Axel Coffee. Don't forget, Inside Running Podcast listeners get 20% off their first order when you use the code IRP20. Start your day right with Axel. We're going to have to whip through the end of this show, people up here, because we have still got a few things to go and not a lot of time. Firstly, though, for my whispers this week, I just wanted to clarify. Croaks, you just said that my boy is Connor Mance and my girl is Faith Kipyegon. So I've made a list of names here just to clarify. Over the years, we've put this title on a lot of people. So like they're our boy, they're our girl, friend of the show, all those kind of things. So I'm going to say a name. You just tell me, just to clarify, if they are boys or girls of the podcast at the moment, because things change over the years. You ready? I've got a few names here.
Good.
Moose, Stewie McSwain. He's still a friend of, or still a boy of ours?
Yeah, he is.
Cam Myers.
Definitely.
Ed Marks.
Yeah, big fan of Ed.
Christian from Norway. Zach Jordan Donnelly, but with Renata Canova now. Do we still call him a boy of the show?
Touch and go.
Yeah. He needs to deliver on his next marathon.
Okay. Andy Buchanan, like we spoke about him, we got in at the ground level. He's our captain at the Bendigo Bats, Croaks. Has he got too big to be our boy now, though?
Couple of business decisions went the wrong way, but then I think he's still our boy.
You mean he entered the shoe industry? Is that what you're talking about?
No.
Okay.
Podcast industry.
Obviously, Jess, we'll say yes for her because she's here. Kane Corns, like a bit of an AFL media running crossover.
Moose's
our boy.
Moose's boy.
Yeah, he's good.
Seth O'Donnell, still our boy?
Definitely.
We need some more from Seth, though.
Yeah, he was meant to race overseas. Didn't happen.
We need more from him.
Didn't give me much when I put in an inquiry as well about what race he's got coming up. I reckon we break bread with this guy and call him our boy. Steve, the pacemaker McKenna. He could be our boy.
How'd he go today?
I don't know. I just keep getting tagged in Instagram stuff that's still coming up in my feed. But I want to officially break bread, acknowledge that he did a good job pacing me at Ballarat so I don't get tagged on anything more on Instagram. Jess Hull, first time on the show in 2019, our girl.
Yeah, like she's always, you messaged her about doing that Faith Kipyegon thing and she was just more than happy to jump on. Yeah,
for the show. Talking about Faith Kipyegon, she's our girl now as well, isn't she? Interviewed her, asked her one question.
Your girl.
No, but it's ours. It's not a you or I kind of thing. Sam Clifford, also put a watch on him for Sydney Marathon. He's our boy?
Yeah, he's our boy.
And the final one, this is like, because I feel like he was our boy and then we cut him, Eliud Kipchoge, who I call I call him
I don't
Kippers.
think he's our boy.
No, he loves it when I call him that as well. But he, remember when he was really good winning everything, and we kind of wanted him to see him get beaten. But now he's on this like return arc to form.
Yeah.
And he's coming out to Sydney.
He's not our boy. You asked him a question about which Aussie runners he looks up to or respects, and his answer was no human is limited.
Yeah,
so he's not our boy if that's his answer.
No, he wants to make Australia a running nation.
Yeah, but that's not answering the question. You asked him who are your Australian, like who do you look up to in Australia? Which athletes do you like?
Okay.
And
I feel like we answered a few questions there anyway, and I can put a few lines through a couple of people here. Moose on the
A
loose.
lot of boys and girls.
Oh, no, I had to be busy on the aeroplane. Flying economy as well up here, Jess, as well. That was hard. Moose on the loose. What do you got, Moose?
Well, today I thought, given it was our 400th episode and there's been close to 400 different rants, I thought I would go back because I reckon I've recycled a few.
I reckon there's only about 200 moves that you've just gone back to.
So I'll go back to the first 100 episodes, and I thought I'll go back and I didn't listen to them all, but we have an agenda, like I've got agendas, and I thought we'll go back and pull out a few that may or may not still be relevant at the moment. So episode 1, I think, was up there with one of my all-time best. So Gwen Jorgensen announced that she would try and win gold at the Tokyo Olympic Marathon at that time. And I called that one of the most disrespectful things I ever heard. She wasn't even doing our sport at the time. She was a triathlete. So we don't even talk about her anymore, do we? She's
No, because I lost a case to you over that.
Yes? Yeah? Oh, do you ever pay that?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, I owe you a slab of Faith Kipyegon as well.
Yeah.
Do you want to go double or nothing? Jess Stenson, first Australian at Sydney
Jess first
Marathon.
Lisa.
Do that again.
Jess first Lisa.
Keep me out of it.
Held me out in the past, Jess. 2 years ago up here, you held me win some beer.
We'll skip that one.
You get Lisa and Leanne. I just take Jess.
Oh, Leanne thrown in. I'll take that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sort out that hamstring, please, Jess.
I will.
Episode 9, I went hard at people that bring their dogs on runs, and now I bring my own dog on my run. I don't run with anyone else, but occasionally I'll run into someone. Actually, Simone McInnes is here. She was the Australian today. Stand up, Simone. No way.
First Australian across the line at the Gold Coast Marathon.
My dog loves Simone, loves jumping on her, chasing on her, and she lives around the corner from me, so she's a big fan of Theo. Episode 13, people that name their run on Strava tempo run or easy run. That was an early call there. That was an early call out, and I feel like you've already done that with Jess today. You've given her a chance to cop out there. Episode 15, the never satisfied runner. So this is the person that you never want to meet after the race because they're always real negative. Even though they've run a PB, it could have been better, and they're a real drag. Episode 25, we went at the online commentary around how Michael Shelley didn't stop to assist Callum Hawkins in the Com Games.
Oh, that's a harsh one.
I didn't go with Michael Shelley.
Shelley up.
You were
Michael Shelley was
on his
copping
team.
it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I
He
agree.
copped it in the comments, and some journalists called him out, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That was awful.
If he'd bent down that day, he never would have got back up again.
It's not his job.
Yeah.
It's not his job to help
he could have
his
actually
competitor.
meant the other athlete was out of the race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only the greats stop in the finish straight to help. Episode 31, race ambassadors that are non-running celebrities that people start turning to for advice about running. I reckon that's getting worse. Episode 32, the Gold Coast Marathon is the devil. That is all about how it's a bit of a hoax up here, and people think it's a flat course and you're going to run fast, but very rarely does it actually happen. 48, complaining around the lowering of the Boston Marathon qualifying times. If you went back then, that would have been 2017. They're probably about 15 minutes quicker now, and they're still complaining about how fast they are. Episode 55, this has changed. Large groups of runners, triathletes and PT groups that overtake a track. You can replace that with run crews now, and it's still just as annoying. Episode 62, people who screenshot images from race photographers and don't pay the actual cost of the photo. That kills me. Like, it costs like $11 for the photo. This is someone's job. And you're in there
You mean with the watermark?
With the watermarks in the background. That is the biggest tight-ass move. Like, I went back on Croaks' Facebook and there's like 12 of them.
Lies,
Someone's got to go home, put food on their kid's table, and you are just like stealing their work.
I don't race, Moose. I don't get photos.
Races who require Facebook recaps or reviews before the prize money will be released to them. The athletes are being made to put up a review. Now, I went this race pretty hard, and geez, it come back on me, didn't it? There was like a campaign to burn me at the stake after that one. Episode 64, how bad are the post-marathon blues? Now, people in this room will feel them tomorrow, the next day, the day after. It's where you feel like you have no purpose in life anymore when you wake up. If you're not training for something, what's the point? Episode 73 went the lack of respect for the long-term process involved with becoming a marathoner. People chasing shortcuts in training. Trying to, I guess, do the 8-week program. And the last one, episode 84, was the Garmin/Strava PB claiming. Still happens to this day. Can you believe that?
I can. Well done.
That's from the top. That's from the first 100. I could do the 100 to 200 next week.
Moose, we've been doing this show for 7 years. That is the most work you have ever done.
For Moose on the loop.
I did this between getting back from my hotel to walking down here, so that was about 12 minutes of work.
Well done. Krogs, bring the show home. Listener question. We've got paper going everywhere here.
Yeah, so this episode's listener question is proudly brought to you by Precision Fuel and Hydration. Did see quite a few empty wrappers out on the course this morning. I often hear you talk about the importance of not overdoing intensity in workouts. I have a tendency towards fifth gear at times, and I was wondering when, if ever, is there a benefit in really rinsing yourself in a workout? And that question comes from Justin. It's a good question.
Mm. Yeah.
Would you like to go first, Jess? What are your thoughts on when can you rinse yourself in a session?
Yeah, I think if you're going to treat it like a race, if you don't have the opportunity to race, you use that session as you respect it like a race, you ease up your training going into it and respect the days offered as well. Some people maybe living in remote areas or whatever don't have access to the races, and I think you need to experience that going all in at times.
No, that's a good answer. That was going to be my answer too. I think it's probably important to recognise why you don't want to do that, and it's so that you can be more consistent and sustainable in your training following that type of training session. So there are a lot of people that go out and do it, and I think if you recover it and respect it, or you're running lower mileage, you can probably get away with it, and maybe it benefits you. But if you're trying to run more mileage and you're trying to do a long run the day after, or you're trying to link together months of training, then that's when it becomes more problematic.
Yeah, you're doing it as well because you think you need to do it. So if you've got evidence of you stringing the training together and not doing it and staying controlled and then having a good result, that then gives you the confidence that you need to, or you can take that stuff out, or that top end intensity out of your training and not risk, putting yourself in a hole, getting injured. Look, I haven't ran 1K in the last 7 weeks in 3:12K pace, and I did 21 of them continuously yesterday because I've been more that 3:20, 3:15 pace in training, knowing that when I freshened and got in a race environment, I could get down to that pace. Mm. It's the people that chase that pace in training and then get to the race day and it's exactly the same effort and exactly the same time.
That poor person gets criticised on a podcast like this for counting that as a PB. They've just gone all in a training session, got their Strava result. Yeah,
screenshotted it, put it on their Instagram story. That wouldn't be Justin. I know Justin is a good bloke, Jess. Don't throw him under the bus like that.
One thing I remember Sean Crichton saying, and he never really used to rinse himself in training, and the reason why he didn't rinse himself in training was because he would race regularly, and so the races would be where you rinse yourself, and that brings your fitness up to that next level. So you don't have to rinse yourself in training. But if you're not racing regularly, I still think there's a time to go pretty hard in training. That might be once every 3 to 4 weeks. Obviously, as you're getting closer to probably more for middle distance where like the intensity is really high, like if you're getting set for like a major middle distance race, some of those sessions are going to be pretty high intensity to get yourself ready for that sort of hurt that you have to go through. So, yeah, they're a couple of my answers.
Good question, and thanks to Precision Fuel and Hydration, visit precisionhydration.com and use the code IR-SPRING2025 for 15% off your first order. What's coming up, fellas? Monaco Diamond League. That is the 12th of July. Pete Bowl in a stacked field. 7 people from the Olympic final, including all the medalists in that race. So that Australian record that he just missed last week will most likely go. Monaco is always fast track as well. Always fast times there. 5K, Kachalcha, Geramet and Algram, who just broke the European 5K record a few weeks ago. They've got a 1K race on. Mary Moore is in that. So Sarah Billings, Jess Hull, Gemma Reiki. And that's about all we've got. Croaks, you're staying up here until Wednesday. What else is coming up next week before I talk to you again?
So we've got Collis's birthday tomorrow. He turns 5, so we're going to go to SeaWorld. And then fly back on Wednesday and then hopefully get back into sort of regular training.
Jess, anything special coming up in your life over the next couple of weeks that we need to know about?
Not too much, no. I was just wondering, does Collis start school then, mid-year?
No, so he'll start
Waiting
next
till
year.
Next year? Yeah. Oh, that's a big milestone. What a way to celebrate.
Croaks have even more free time on his hands. 2 kids at school. Moose, what are you doing between now and next week?
No, very little. Travel home.
Travel home,
back
get
in the
home.
grind.
Any shoes coming out this week that we need to know about?
Well, this week? No, not this week. This is a down week in the shoe industry.
Okay. Also, our friends at Lululemon, if you want to check under your seats, there are 10 gift vouchers in the audience today, thanks to Lululemon. If there's a spare seat next to you, oh, look at that. There's one already.
Section.
There's a spare seat anywhere near you. I'd also be putting my arms under that one. Some winners. Congratulations, Sam. How good's that? Some people are going home with some Lululemon dollars. And also, that is the end of our show. There is a message from Lululemon for the celebration event afterwards. If you just follow the staff who will be waiting outside there, they'll direct you how to get up to the rooftop. We do have to go up an elevator, so it might take a few minutes to get everyone up there. We are so grateful that you guys have spent Sunday afternoon with us. If you're on the roads today, if you've left your family for 7 hours this morning and also 2 hours this afternoon, we are extremely, extremely grateful that you guys are here and that you listen to the show every week. Opportunities like this to work with a brand like Lululemon don't come without our audience. So, we don't take you guys for granted, and we just massively appreciate that we have gone from the Broad Beach Bowls Club in front of 25 people to the Lululemon Ballroom at the QT in front of 450 people. So a massive thanks for being here. Hopefully you got a bit of a behind-the-scenes look at what the show looks like, and thanks for your support.
Want to make your next race day the best one yet? Well, dialing in your nutrition strategy is one of the most effective ways you can do that. Luckily, our show sponsor, Precision Fuel and Hydration, offers you the chance to do this in the most effective way possible. Book a free consultation with their team to fine-tune your fueling plans. Emphasis here on you, as they offer tailored advice based on your circumstances and the race you're taking on. They're there to help you achieve your goals all year long, and as mentioned, this service is free of charge and a great opportunity to ask them any questions you may have about fueling and hydrating for your race. No question is too daft for them. We've loved Precision for a long while, and this free service is another reason why. Use the link in the show notes and use code IR-SPRING2025 for 15% off your first order and start smashing those goals today.
No